on themselves. And so it comes to a point where all they know how to do is critique other people, and not and that time that you're using to critique other people, you're actually taking away from things that you need to do to fix yourself. You know what I'm saying? So
Are you talking about me?
Hey, am
Well,
I?
put me on camera then. Don't talk about it for real. Let's talk about it for real, because I'm not the only one.
Have you finished driving?
No, I'm done driving. I'm done driving because I'm finna park
So
right here.
this is what we're talking about. So I don't know how the conversation started, okay? Hello, everyone. Welcome to my sporadic impromptu live here on YouTube. I wanted to talk about how, like, mental health, mental illness, and the things that are happening to, and I'm just going to use the United States of America as like my foundation, okay? And like, the lack of accountability and the lack of responsibility that is happening in our country is so freaking crazy, that we've allowed so many things to be the reason why for the things that are not going right in our life, right?
Don't forget the lack of appreciation and gratitude. It's a lot of lacks. It's not just the lack of that. It's the lack of a lot of shit.
There's so many things that are so misleading, and maybe it's because of the ability for people to receive so much information, right? It's the overload of information. So when you have a overload of information, or too many choices to choose from, you know, it causes confusion. And so many people in the United States are walking around so confused and focused on so many things that are not building into, like, who they are or who they really want to be, or they don't even know where to begin that process of how to get to that point. You know what I mean? Because that process of getting to that point is so vital, but yet the struggle is so real that
where do you begin?
That the need that they give up, because they're not collecting the tools that are needed.
Tell them where to begin.
You know what I mean? And so for me, like, everyone's journey is different on how to, I call it the self-mastery journey, okay? Everyone's self-mastery journey is different. And what I can do is only speak from my experience, right? I can't speak from anyone else's experience. I can tell you what worked for me, what is working for me, and what the things that haven't worked for me through my self-mastery journey, right? And so when we have tons of people that are dealing with so much in our country right now, okay? And I just, there's a lot of things I want to reference as to what's going on in this country, like, and I wanted to say it earlier, but I didn't want to ruffle any feathers, okay? You see why a lot of people are talking about moving out of the United States. Why are so many people talking about you leaving the United States of America? I just want to leave this, I'm going to sit here on that real quick. Answer me if you know, why are so many people talking about leaving the United States of America, the so-called best country in the world? Why are so many people ready to pick up and take off? Just leave the United States behind. And so many people have done it already. There's an estimated over 2 million people from the United States of America, which, as the population as a whole in the United States, that's not a lot. But the fact that people are choosing to leave their foundation in search of a better way of life, of a more peaceful, of a more joyous, of a more fulfilling life, time management, right? Having a better group of friends, you know? Blonde buffoon. Okay. Why is that even a thing in a country that is supposedly be the greatest country in the world? It's because people are not taking accountability for themselves, our leaders are not taking accountability for their actions, and we're just following in the footsteps of our leaders, right? I mean, the United States as a whole is definitely spreading itself too thin. Why are we spreading ourselves too thin? Why is the United States doing all the things that it's doing, and then when its people needs help, it's nowhere to be found? We're the last. We're the ones at the bottom, on the bottom of the totem pole, that's able to seek or receive any type of assistance because we're so busy helping everyone else or being in everyone else's business. So again, the way we think, the culture of our country, people just repeat that. So again, you have tons of Americans not focused on self, not worrying about self, not worrying about the self-mastery journey, and worried about everything that's going on. That is, you have men and women fighting each other, right? Battling over who's the cause of the issues in this country, who's the cause of the issues in your relationships, who's the cause of, it's like, yo, it takes a collective, right? It's a collective of everything that's going on. Even the things that are happening in other countries have an effect on us as a United States, as members of as citizens of the United States. Like, I can't even just moving to Mexico has taught me so much, you know? Every time that peso would get more powerful, every time that peso would get stronger, and my rent would go up $200 because all the stuff that's going on in the United States would affect how strong the peso is, or how much things were going on in other countries would affect how strong the peso is. And every time the peso would get stronger, it affected me, even though I lived in another country as an American. You can try to separate everything, you can try to divide everything, but at the end of the day, we all come from that same core. We all come from that same root. It's just hella different branches now. Hella different branches, man. And my suggestion or my advice to anyone who is suffering, anyone who is dealing with things that it seems like it's too hard to get over, my advice is to just dig and pour into yourself. Figure out what is going to make you blossom. What is going to make you tick? How do you heal the things that you're going through? How do you heal your past trauma? How do you continue to move forward? How do you stay present in the moment? How do you balance all that out? Like, if you're dealing with that consistently, you don't have time for anything else. You ain't got time for the drama. You ain't got time really for anything but your immediate family, and that in itself is a burden. We got to plan right. You got to strategize right. You have to do so many things. Like, oh my God, it's so much going on. Like I'm like up to here. I'm sick and tired of a lot of these conversations and a lot of these things that our people are talking about, when we should be talking about how do we heal. Watching me from Ghana. Hola, Ghana. I hope you're doing well. So 2025, I'm traveling to Africa. I don't know what part yet. It might be Ghana. Might be what? Where else? South Africa. It might be where else would I go? I mean, there's so many. Ethiopia. It might be Morocco. It might be Egypt. I don't know. But I know when I'm going to go to Africa in 2025. But thank you for tuning in. But we're just talking about the fabric of America. And let me tell you why I feel like I'm in my feels right now, if you understand what I'm saying, because I recently got sick, right? And I run a business, and I'm trying to grow my business. My business is fairly new, and there's other businesses that I assist with. And so because I got sick, even though I lived in Cancun, I had to come back to the United States because I couldn't receive the care that I needed. And I wasn't comfortable with receiving the care that I needed in Mexico. And, ooh, my eyes itching. And I couldn't afford to receive the care that I needed while in Mexico. So I had to come back to the United States. And so because I'm, an entrepreneur, a small business owner, I needed assistance. I needed help, right? And guess what? That help and assistance that I need is not here for me as an American citizen, but it's here for all people, people from different countries. And so when those who are born and raised in the United States of America come and need assistance, it's not available no more. That's scary. That is so scary. To be born and raised in a country and you pour into the Social Security, you pour into the taxes, you pour into like everything that you're abiding by all the rules, right? You're doing everything as an outstanding, upstanding citizen. But when it's time for that country to pay you back, they got nothing for you. How does that make you feel? Has that happened to you? Do you know what I'm talking about? Am I tripping? We are watching and seeing what is going on, and it freaks me out. It's like a dystopian reality. It's scary. It is so scary. And, it's sad how we've been programmed to just think that the United States of America is the answer to all. And then as you grow up as an adult, and you actually need, like, again, that assistance because you're just working towards that American dream, whatever that is, right? And boom, they're telling you, oh, so Social Security might not be a thing when you need it. What the fuck? What are you talking about? Oh, assistance with since your job. Well, listen to this though. Since your medical all your medical is through your job, but there's no jobs. People are getting sick, but they don't have jobs, so they don't have medical, but the assistance that's needed to get the medical is not readily available to those who once had jobs. What's going on? What's going on? But hey, wait, all the jobs that were available are being outsourced now. Because why? Why are they being outsourced to India or Mexico? Why are these jobs being outsourced? Oh, because Mexico, Bali has a stronger working force that you can pay less for. But these corporations that you supported to become multi-billion-dollar, trillion-dollar companies are abandoning you. United States of America has a very strong buying power. I was with a couple of African Americans in Ghana last week, and these elderly women were talking about building a retirement community in Ghana for the elderly because, according to them, they can never afford to retire in the U.S. You can't retire in the U.S. You can't. It's impossible. It's impossible. It's extremely expensive. When I worked for the pharmacy before I moved to Mexico, the pharmacy that I worked for, we serviced long-term care facilities. And not just that, you can't afford to get sick in the United States of America because there's no assistance anymore. The assistance is for other people that are not from the United States. This is why people are talking about moving and leaving and going to other countries. Because our country cares more for other countries than for their own people in the country. The United States has definitely spread itself too thin. I'm not big on politics. I don't know, the correct terminology. I only know what I know, and I only know what I experience and what others experience. Don't pay tax. What do you mean don't pay tax? What are we talking about here? Don't pay tax what? Talk to me. Wow, yeah. I mean, I'm definitely looking into Africa. I definitely don't want to live in the United States anymore, which I don't. For you, those of you who don't know, I live in Mexico. I've been in Mexico for 10 years, but at the same time, you know, I'm so used to a certain way of treatment and living, especially when it comes to the medical care. I got really, really sick. I needed a blood transfusion. I know nothing about the medical system in Mexico. I know nothing about their blood transfusion protocol. I don't know, you know, how they receive their blood, how they what do you call it? Inspect their blood. I don't know anything. I know how they do it in the United States of America, you know. I heard they are kicking Americans out of Mexico. Oh no, Johnny, no. Oh, Mexico is actually begging for people to move there and buy land. Like, it's such a fast growing economy that it's able to, it's growing so fast that it's able to raise their minimum wage by like over 50% for their law enforcement in certain states. And it's growing so fast that they're having me, I work for a brokerage company, they're having me actually screen their blood. Yes. They're having me actually promote or market to Americans. There's a specific price. There's a price that they can charge Americans that they can't charge their locals or their nationals, their Mexican nationals, and that they don't charge other people from other countries because they don't make their dollar is not as strong as the USD still to this day. But still, yeah, no, that's not true. You need to read into it. A big portion, listen to this though, a huge portion of Mexico's GDP comes from people who live in Mexico or were born and raised in Mexico that go to the United States. Remittance, there we go. A large portion of, and thank you guys for the thumbs up, you guys. You can always give me thumbs up. A large portion of Mexico's GDP is from remittance, from the people who live in that country. Okay, we you know, in the States we just get propaganda. Yes, for sure. It's, you know why? Let me tell you why. The propaganda is the United States wants you to stay in this country because, of course, each person that lives here, it's money for them, right? And if they make you terrified to live in another country and invest in another country, and they tell you all these crazy things that are happening in these countries, you're not going to leave, right? Thank you for the thumbs up. You're not going to leave. But I live in Mexico, and I'm telling you, it's furthest from the truth. Now, will things change? Yes. As a country grows more powerful and things are growing, economy is growing, laws change, you know, things happen. But right now, it's more favorable to make United States dollars and live in Mexico right now. It's a thing that they haven't, you know, stopped. They haven't, you know. You're a resource that they continuously want to milk. Everyone's a resource in Mexico, though. I'll tell you that. There's lots of Africans in certain parts of Mexico. There's a lot of people from Haiti. There's a lot of people from South America. There's a lot of Russians and like a lot of countries that been through like a lot of like social issues in their country, and they needed to flee, and they're looking for like, what is it, sanctuary, or they're looking for some type of safe haven. They come to Mexico because it's easier to get to Mexico than it is to the United States. Oh, okay. Oh, the United States? Yeah, definitely. Everyone's a huge dollar in Mexico. They like, you're a number first in the United States. You're your Social Security number first, and then and then after your Social Security number, you're still not nothing. They treat animals better in the United States than they treat their own people. Like, let's just be 100. I just came from. Okay, I was in San Francisco. I was in LA. Like, these are real major cities. I was in Chicago. I just left Chicago, and now I'm in Sacramento. And I'm gonna tell you this. I was born and raised in California, right? And Northern California. Northern California, it's so sad how expensive it is to live in California. It's so expensive to live in California right now. And the gentrification that is happening in California is so bad that in Sacramento, which is the capital of California, the homeless population has more than quadrupled. And I'm not over-exaggerating. I'm not over-exaggerating. I'm being 100% honest with you. The mental illness that you see here, you see zombified people roaming the streets, camped out, any given neighborhood, any given street, and then they try to tell them, or they try to control it and say that they can't be on the streets. So either they are going to jail every day just for a meal or a place to lay their head, or they're going to a hospital every day just for a meal or a place to lay their head. This is how bad the homelessness is and the mental illness is in California. Like, we're not even going to talk about San Francisco. This is just Sacramento. San Francisco is so bad. Oakland is so bad. Like, Oakland is not even a city anymore. You know what I mean? All the major cities, all the major things that once made Oakland what Oakland was, has left. The Oakland Coliseum lost the Warriors. They lost San Francisco 49. I mean, they lost the Oakland Raiders, right? They lost the Oakland A's. All the stuff that, like, you once known that you used to go to, it's like it's non-existent. They gentrified it, kicked out all the people who couldn't afford it, made it a tech place. So those who are only making tech wages, especially in San Francisco, San Jose, can only afford these places. It's crazy. Even in Chicago, I was so tripped out. Like, the food in Chicago is much more cheaper than the food in California. I was like the services that they provided, in Chicago was so much more cheaper than California. It like blew my mind. I felt like I was in Mexico again when I was in Chicago, because some of the prices in where I live in Mexico was similar to what the prices were in Chicago. I'm so used to living in California, and it is just beautiful in California. Don't get me wrong. The weather is amazing in California. It's such a huge state that you can travel and you can road trip, and you got nature, and you got the ocean, and you got the forest, and you got the desert. You got so many different just things to do here. I live in Cancun, Mexico. I've been in Cancun, Mexico for about 5-6 years, on and off for 10 years in Mexico, and then 3 years like consistently in Mexico. And I've been building, growing my business since I've been there, and it has not been easy at all, especially, like I said, while I got sick. And but investing in Mexico is like the thing to do right now. It is. I wish more people that look like me would listen and take advantage of that. And this is why I always talk about it, and this is why I always hop on here, so I can tell people like what the real is in Mexico, how life really is out there, besides staying on the resort. Can you guys still hear me? Let me know if you can still hear me. And thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate you guys. I think you guys can send me stars and stuff like that, can't you? So Johnny Walker, where are you from? Purple Chameleon is from Ghana. Where are you from, Johnny Walker? So yeah, it's pretty sad, and it's sad that I have to come here. What I do know, though, and let me just like stop down in the United States of America. What I do know is that I am blessed that I was born in a country like this, and I've learned so much, you know, from being from the United States of America. The opportunities that, you know, that were here for me as I was growing up has really, you know, allowed me to be a forward thinker. But there's some things that hindered me, and hinders a lot of us that were born and raised in the United States. And a few things that I would mention that hindered us was the fact that our school system is so bogus. We have a horrible school system. Our school system is not great. Our health system, you know, is through our work, which is horrible. And but I don't know like anything else really, you know. When it comes to especially my medical and my education, I did not take full advantage of my education. It's so expensive. I have so many friends that are like in debt over going to college. And even if they did land a job, most jobs are not paying more than that much more than minimum wage, even if you do have a degree. Real talk. I'm not lying. We just haven't been taught well here. We haven't learned to like there's a book that says think like a foreigner. And you know, in foreigners, everybody pretty much is if you don't work, you don't eat. We don't have that policy. You know, we try to feed everybody, and it has backfired on us because we haven't set standards for ourselves. Again, this is just my point of view. I'm really on a rant right now because I just had some things happen with me that has me pretty pissed off, and it's pretty sad that, you know, I got to go through these things, and I've worked so hard, and I paid into my taxes, and I did everything that I needed to do. I've been, you know, a good citizen, you know, for the past like 20 something years, 30 years. As a kid, that wasn't me. I can't speak for the things I did as a kid. So yeah, I had to leave the United States because the food was making me so sick. The food was making me so, I'm sorry, yeah, my allergies, I apologize. My allergies are so messed up right now. But yeah. But okay, I'm getting kind of tired. I just wanted to go off on my little rant. But yeah, life is crazy, man. Life is crazy. But all you can do is do the best that you can do with the tools that you have, and then actively seek better tools. All right, I'm Damayanga. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, Purple Chameleon.